While washing my wife's underwear, I noticed a yellow burn mark on the crotch. Curious, I brought it up to my nose. It reeked of cigarette smoke, but I didn't remember ever dropping ash on her panties, and my wife definitely doesn't smoke. I stood there frozen, holding the underwear. A million possibilities flashed through my mind. Just then, my phone lit up. It was a text from her. I have to catch up on the project schedule tonight. Don't wait up for me. Get some rest. I was the one who got Xiao Yu her job, working as an assistant at an anime company. It was supposed to be a very relaxed gig, but lately, she's been working overtime and coming home late into the night. I used to think it was just normal for the industry, but right now, it felt like a bucket of ice water had been poured over me. That foul smell of cigarette smoke. Someone clearly left it there on purpose. Suppressing my emotions, I texted back. Where are you working overtime? Let me come pick you up. No need. The office is a mess right now. I don't even know when it'll be done. Putting my own work aside, I drove straight to her company. Only the third floor of the building was still lit. Faint sounds of laughter and talking drifted down, but I didn't go upstairs. Instead, I called Xiao Yu. I am waiting downstairs. It's not safe this late at night. Why did you actually come? I am in the middle of something. Just go home first. The panic in her voice made my heart sink. After hanging up, I slipped into the emergency exit to watch in secret. Before long, she and a guy in a gray suit walked out together. The two of them were making out passionately in front of a luxury car. Looks like my guess was right. She had betrayed our family. I wanted nothing more than to rush out and beat them half to death. But then I heard the man's teasing words. That honest guy of yours is pretty clingy, huh? Don't bring him up. But he's so annoying. When he called last time, didn't we just keep going anyway? How was it? Thrilling, right? How about we go for another round? Oh my, you're so bad. The man turned his face toward the light. I recognized him. He was the creative director at Xiao Yu's company, Chen, and a married man of many years. He frequently appeared in industry magazines. Right now, seeing them act as intimate as a married couple, my head throbbed with a splitting pain, but reason held back my impulsive rage. If I rushed out now, it would just be a humiliating farce. I needed to get solid evidence. To completely ruin their reputations, I raised my phone and quietly recorded them all tangled up together. Watching that luxury car shake, I let out a bitter laugh. I worked my ass off to make money, just to give her a peaceful home. To scrape together the 200,000 yuan down payment, I swallowed every hardship, finally managed to buy a house and get married. Yet, after barely a year, she was sneaking around behind my back doing this, staring at the disgusting video on my phone. A cold smirk slowly crept onto my face. Wang Xiaoyu. Seeking thrills comes with a price. I am going to give you the surprise of a lifetime. It wasn't until 2 a.m. that Xiaoyu finally came home. She tiptoed into bed, still carrying that unfamiliar scent of cigarette smoke, mixed with her perfume. He kept my eyes shut tight, listening to her steady breathing, while my mind couldn't stop, replaying the scene in the parking lot. I didn't have the energy for a showdown. Impulsiveness is the cheapest emotion. What I needed was a precise counterattack. The next morning, I prepared breakfast for her as usual. Toast with a fried egg, and a glass of soy milk. You worked so late last night. Sleep in a bit today. I can't. Today, the director is taking me to meet a client. When she said that, a flash of smugness crossed her eyes. Meeting clients is a good thing. It shows management values you. I kept my head down, peeling fruit. The knife hit the cutting board with a steady, rhythmic thud. After seeing her out the door, I didn't go to work. I took an annual leave day instead. Booting up my computer, I began systematically gathering information. I met up with an old classmate who works at a cybersecurity firm, AG, wearing his black-rimmed glasses. After hearing my story, he stayed silent for a moment. Have you thought this through? Once you go down this path, there's no turning back. From the moment I found out the truth, turning back was already impossible. Through legal channels, I can help you with 3 things. First, recover her deleted chat history. Second, track Chenon's public financial records. Third, investigate the shareholder structure of his company. Anything beyond that, I can't get involved in. That's more than enough. A week later, Xiao Yu said she had a sudden industry seminar to attend. 3 days and 2 nights. I helped her pack her luggage and slipped a micro GPS tracker into the lining of her suitcase. She threw her arms around my neck, acting all sweet. Hubby, you're so good to me. Yet on her neck, I could smell the men's cologne Chen and always wore. I gently patted her back, like comforting a death row inmate about to take the stand. Once she left, I opened the tracking app. The red dot showed the place she checked into. It wasn't the 4-star hotel designated for the seminar. It was a high-end resort villa 30 kilometers away, with a room rate of 4,800 yuan a night, way beyond what her salary could afford. I took screenshots to save all the location data. Then I started organizing the documents Ajia sent me. Chen An's background was more interesting than I thought. His title of creative director was actually just an empty shell. The real core team was based in another city. He was nothing but a figurehead propping up the branch's image, and the only reason he could secure this position was all thanks to his wife, Su Yuan. Su Yuan's father was the chairman of the local Building Materials Association. Nearly 60% of the company's business came from the Su family's connections. Chen An's reputation in the industry was absolute garbage, from skimming his subordinates' project bonuses to faking travel expenses, and even embezzling company reserve funds to play the stock market. The most ironic part was, this man who constantly preached about family-first responsibilities on social media had been separated from Su Yuan for 2 years. Their separation agreement clearly stated that if Chen An committed infidelity again, he would walk away with nothing and pay a massive settlement. Looking at the mountain of evidence on my screen, I suddenly burst out laughing. Xiao Yu thought she had climbed up to a high branch. Little did she know, it was just a rotting piece of wood about to collapse. 3 days later, Xiao Yu dragged her suitcase home. A new Bulgari necklace had appeared around her neck. I gained so much from this trip. Director Chen even introduced me to a few more investors. Oh, really? That's great. I picked up her phone. As I swiped through, I pretended to accidentally tap the recently deleted folder in her photo album. Inside, there were a few photos of her and Chen, and together by the villa's pool. Even though they were deleted, the thumbnails were still clearly visible. The color instantly drained from her face. What? What are you looking at? What's wrong? I am just looking at your professional photos. I feigned ignorance, but in my mind, I memorized the timestamps of those photos. They perfectly matched the time she told me she was in meetings. Early the next morning, I bumped into our neighbor, Auntie Lai, downstairs. Her daughter also worked as an accountant at Xiao Yu's company. She was usually a huge gossip. Xiao Zhang, is your Xiao Yu getting a promotion soon? Why do you say that? My daughter said. Your Xiao Yu and that director Chen are awfully close. They even went on a private business trip last week. There's a lot of talk going around the office. You should keep an eye on things. I gave a bitter smile and shook my head. Xiao Yu is just doing it for work. I trust her. As soon as she walked away, the smile vanished from my face. Looks like they couldn't even be bothered to do the bare minimum of hiding it. I met up with De Liu, a lawyer friend of mine. He's quite well known in divorce litigation. After hearing my story, he poured me a cup of tea and said, from a legal standpoint, you need to accomplish 3 things. First, get solid evidence of her infidelity. Second, get a clear picture of all your joint marital assets. Third, figure out her attitude and bottom line in all this. I am already gathering the evidence. As for the assets, we just bought the house a year ago. My parents covered the 800,000 yuan down payment, and the mortgage is in my name. She basically spends her entire salary on herself. I handle all the household expenses. Then you need to act fast. If she makes any large expenditures during this time, or tries to hide assets, you need to secure the evidence immediately. Da Liu listed out a checklist for me, including bank statements, property deed copies, chat histories, notarizations. 17 items in total. Over the weekend, Xiao Yu said she wanted to have dinner at her parents' house. I brought along 2 boxes of premium tea and a massager, and went over with her. Oh, Xiao Zhang, you didn't have to bring so many gifts. At the dinner table, Xiao Yu's mother kept dropping hints, talking about how much pressure young people face nowadays. Then she brought up someone's daughter, who got a 660,000 yuan bride price. The way I see it, Xiao Yu's income has gone up quite a bit. You too should consider upgrading to a better car. Driving your old car to meet clients is embarrassing. I kept my head down and ate my rice, reluctantly playing along. Yes, you're right. Once the project bonus comes in next year, well, change cars. As we were leaving, Xiao Yu's younger brother, Xiao Bing, leaned in and whispered in my ear, brother-in-law, I am looking to invest in a bubble tea shop, but I am a little short on startup capital. Do you think you could lend me 50,000 yuan? I'll pay you back in half a year. I'll have to discuss this with your sister first. She manages the money. After all, I smiled and passed the buck to Xiao Yu. She glared at me, then hurriedly dragged me away. On the way home, Xiao Yu spoke up first. Don't mind Xiao Bing. He's a bottomless pit. I know. But, Xiao Yu, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. If we had a lot of money right now, what would you want to do most? Why are you suddenly asking this? Well, I just feel like we've been married for over a year, and I've let you suffer too many grievances. She pondered for a long time, then softly said, I want to open my own studio, to be an independent designer, not having to read other people's moods, not having to work overtime every day. Too bad the startup capital would be at least 500,000 yuan. That day will come. My heart was completely ice cold. Turns out she had already planned her exit strategy, using my money to fulfill her dreams. Under the guise of a work consultation, I went to a law firm downstairs from Xiao Yu's company. Coincidentally, among this law firm's clients was the family business of Su Yuan, Chen An's wife, through a broker. I managed to book an appointment with Su Yuan's personal lawyer, Lawyer Zhou. In a quiet, private tea room, I got straight to the point. Lawyer Zhou, I believe you must have heard about Mr. Chen An's recent behavior. Mr. Zhang, you don't follow. I unlocked my phone and slid it across the table to him. On the screen was the photo of Xiao Yu and Chen and at the resort villa. This is a photo I recovered from her cloud backup. It's a bit blurry, but you can still make out their faces. The lawyer Zhao's expression finally relaxed. What is it you want? I just want to take back what's mine. As for Chenan, he needs to pay the price for his actions. He looked closely at the photo, then looked up to size me up. We talked for a solid hour. Lawyer Joe accepted a copy of the photo and gave me a promise. So Yuan's side would coordinate with my timeline, and we would strike simultaneously at the right moment. I pulled Xiao Yu's bank statements from the past 6 months. Sure enough, starting 3 months ago, her account had been receiving a monthly transfer of 20,000 yuan. The memo read project bonus, but during that same period, in the company's official bonus payout records, her name was nowhere to be found. The funniest part was, she used this money to buy designer bags and jewelry. Yet she constantly complained to me that her salary wasn't enough and that she wanted to switch to a higher-paying job. I printed out all the statements and highlighted the suspicious transactions. Then I went to the Housing Management Bureau to pull the property records for our house. Luckily, the house was registered solely under my name back when we bought it. She complained that the paperwork was too much of a hassle and said, "You can just sign it yourself." I actually thought she trusted me. Thinking back, she was probably preparing her exit strategy all along. That night when Xiao Yu got home, she looked incredibly excited. "Oh, hubby, my company is expanding into a new business sector. Director Chen said he could let me invest. Just 300,000 yuan gets me a 5% bonus share. Next year's dividends will at least double our money." 300,000? We don't have that kind of cash lying around. Then let's take out a second mortgage on the house. The market is good right now. We could easily borrow 800,000. Besides the investment money, we could also upgrade our car and renovate the house. She rambled on, painting a beautiful picture of our future. Meanwhile, I broke out in a cold sweat, so their plan had already reached this stage. Not only did they want to destroy my marriage, they wanted to squeeze every last drop of value out of me. This is a huge deal. I need to think about it. What's there to think about? Opportunity waits for no one. Director Chen already said he's only holding this spot for me for 3 days. Her impatience laid bare all her greedy ambitions. I looked at her face, flushed with excitement, and suddenly felt a profound sense of sorrow. All right, I'll go to the bank tomorrow and ask about it. That's amazing. She planted a kiss on my cheek. I am going to take a shower. Be careful. Once she went to shower, I scrubbed that kiss off my face. I sought out the private investigator at GA recommended, Lao Zheng. He was in his 50s, with an ordinary appearance, looking just like any other middle-aged guy on the street. "Mr. Zhang, I'll have the documents you need in 3 days. I gave him Chen An's license plate number, the places he frequented, along with Xiao Yu's basic information. When Lao Zhang took the envelope, he muttered quietly, "I've seen plenty of this type. Don't worry. I'll dig so deep I'll even find out what color underwear he's wearing." I met up with the receptionist at Xiao Yu's company, Xiao Mei. She was a close friend of my cousin. She had previously dropped hints, telling me I should pay more attention to Xiao Yu. "Mr. Zhang, I really don't want to gossip, but the thing between Xiao Yu and Director Chen, pretty much everyone in the company knows about it." Xiao Mei told me Chen and frequently used meeting clients as an excuse to take Xiao Yu out. Sometimes they'd leave in the afternoon and wouldn't show up until the next day. They even openly flirt in the office. Once, they were even making out in the pantry. The cleaning lady caught them. The worst part is, last week, Director Chen announced in front of everyone that he wanted to promote Xiao Yu to deputy department manager. But that position was supposed to go to Sister Liu. Sister Liu has been working there for 8 years. Doesn't upper management care? Who would dare? Director Chen was sent down from headquarters. Besides, I heard his wife's family is very powerful. After Xiaomei left, I sat alone in the cafe for a long time. Outside the window, the streets were bustling with traffic. Everyone was rushing by, brushing past one another, hurrying toward their own brilliant or bleak lives. Old Zheng handed me a thick folder of documents. This guy Chenin is quite the talent. As for his affairs, I've dug up at least 4 different women. He embezzled company funds to gamble in Macau and owes over 2 million yuan. Now he's just robbing Peter to pay Paul. Barely scraping by, the file contained CCTV screenshots of Chen, and at the casino, photos of loan shark contracts, and even his medical records for treating instead. As for your wife, she's been consulting a divorce lawyer recently. She's been asking how to get a cut of the husband's premarital assets, and whether the wife's infidelity affects the division of property. Stuff like that. Mr. Zhang, I advise you to act as soon as possible. Judging from their chat history, they're planning to start the divorce proceedings next month. When the time comes, she'll file for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, demand half the house, and even ask for emotional distress compensation. Next month, he got it. I paid the remaining balance. Clutching the folder, I walked out of the building. The sun was blindingly bright, but I felt a bone-chilling cold. I began organizing all the evidence, categorizing it clearly. Category 1, evidence of Xiao Yu and Chen An's affair, photos, videos, and hotel booking records. Category 2, evidence of Chen An's financial crimes, embezzlement, gambling, loan sharks, account details, 703 million, 529D, 203 point cat set, Dotty 213 million. Category 3, evidence of Xiao Yu scheming to transfer assets, bank statements, lawyer consultation records. Category 4, evidence of Xiao Yu's family extorting money from me, voice recordings, chat histories. I made 3 copies of these documents, one for lawyer Joe, one for Daliu, and one for myself. Then, I did 2 things. First, I went to the bank, changed all my card passwords, and transferred most of the money out, leaving only a little in the accounts. This was a legal move suggested by Dalu. It falls under preventative measures against malicious asset transfers. Second, I installed hidden cameras near the doors and windows at home. If they wanted to put on a show, it'd build them the grandest stage possible. Xiao Yu demanded to go back to her parents' house again. This time, her younger brother, Xiao Bing, laid his cards on the table. Brother-in-law, my girlfriend is pregnant. We need to buy a house and get married as soon as possible. Could you lend me 300,000 yuan for now? Just consider it in advance on my bride price. Xiao Yu's parents chimed in to help him out. 300,000 isn't a small amount. I need to go back and check how much is left in my cards. What's there to check? Your house is worth almost 4 million on the market now. Taking out a mortgage for a few 100,000 should be a piece of cake, right? I finally understood why this family was so greedy. They had always seen me as their personal ATM. They wanted to squeeze every last drop of value out of me before the truth came out. A mortgage requires both husband and wife to sign. Xiao Yu, what do you think? Xiao Yu had no choice but to play the peacemaker. Let's talk about this later. Xiao Bing, seriously, 300,000 isn't something you can just pull out of thin air. But the look in her eyes told me she was losing her patience. That night, for the first time, Xiao Yu brought up the future on her own. Hubby, if we ever break up in the future, would you give me half the house? Why are you asking this all of a sudden? I've just been watching the news lately, and I see so many couples getting divorced, fighting tooth and nail over their houses. If it ever really comes to that, don't worry. I won't let you get the short end of the stick. She seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. She turned her back and fell asleep. As for me, I lay there with my eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, until the first light of dawn broke. Dalu, lawyer Joe, and I held a 3-way meeting. Emma Su Wan has prepared all the documents, including evidence of Chen An's embezzlement, gambling as well as ironclad proof that he violated their separation agreement. We can file a lawsuit at any time. I've also finished preparing the divorce papers on my end. Based on the current evidence, we can accuse the other party of gross misconduct, demand that she leaves with nothing, and also claim compensation for emotional distress. Hold on, aren't they after money? I laid out my own plan. After hearing it, Daliu and lawyer Zhou pondered for a long time. Are you sure you want to do this? The risks are pretty high. I've been waiting for this day for far too long. I took the initiative to bring up the mortgage with Xiao Yu. I've thought it through. This really is a rare opportunity. I've already contacted the bank. We can take out a second mortgage. We can borrow up to 1.2 million. Really? Then we can use 1 million for the investment and give 200,000 to my brother for his house. It's perfect. But the bank requires a clear purpose for the loan. The investment funds must be transferred directly to a corporate account, not a personal one. Tell your boss, Chen, to prepare a formal investment contract. Xiao Yu nodded eagerly. That very day, she worked overtime until late at night. I knew damn well she went to strategize with Chen An. Xiao Yu handed me an investment contract. I took one look at it, and it was full of loopholes. The company's registered capital was only 500,000, yet they were accepting an investment of 1 million. The dividend clauses were incredibly vague, and the breach of contract liabilities only bound the investor. I need to have a lawyer look over this contract first. I have a friend who specializes in investment law. I'll take it to him tomorrow. Oh, come on. Would Boss Chen really scam us? His father-in-law's family has such a massive business empire. Even blood brothers need to keep their accounts clear. It's just standard procedure. I took a picture of the contract and sent it to Daliu. He replied with a few words. Fraudulent contract, solid evidence. A week later, Xiao Yu excitedly told me, Chen An has arranged for the company's major shareholders to meet us. The location is set at the most exclusive private club in the city. This meeting is very important. You have to dress sharply and make a good impression. Okay? Don't worry. I know what I am doing. I watched her carefully pick out her outfit and meticulously do her makeup. Suddenly, I remembered the day we registered our marriage a year ago. She had dressed up and done her makeup just as carefully back then. Hubby, we have to stay together for the rest of our lives, okay? Turns out, the rest of our lives was that short. The VIP room in the club was blindingly luxurious. Chen himself was already there. You must be Mr. Zhang, right? Xiao Yu talks about you all the time. She says you're a brilliant young talent. There were also 2 middle-aged men claiming to be company shareholders. Later, old Zhang told me they were just extras, Chen, and hired from the labor market for 500 yuan a day. He reached out his hand. I smiled and shook it. You're too polite, Boss Chen. I've heard from Xiao Yu that you take great care of her. Not at all. It's only right. Xiao Yu is an outstanding employee. At the dinner table, Chen rambled on endlessly about the company's prospects. He claimed they were about to land a massive government project. The return on investment would be at least 300%. Throughout the meal, I played along, asking questions at just the right moments, feigning an intense interest in investing. Xiao Yu sat right next to Chen An. The two of them exchanged glances from time to time. Their unspoken chemistry was a real eyesore. When the dinner ended, Chen An patted my shoulder and said, "Brother, that 1 million will be in the account by next Monday. You'll get your first dividend next month. All right. It'll go speed up the process." As we left the club, Xiao Yu had her arm through mine, radiating absolute smugness. "Hubby, once this investment pays off, let's upgrade to a bigger house, okay? The kind with floor-to-ceiling windows." "Sure, whatever you say." The car's stereo started playing her favorite old song again. She hummed along, completely unaware that this would be the last time she'd ever laugh in this car. On Monday morning, Xiao Yu and I went to the bank together to process the mortgage. The credit manager was Wang Lei, my college buddy. I had already discussed everything with him beforehand. "Zhang, sister-in-law, the paperwork is all set. The house is appraised at 4.2 million, and the maximum for a second mortgage is 1.26 million. Here is the contract." Xiao Yu took the contract and flipped through it herself. Of course, she didn't understand a thing about those complex financial terms, but when she saw the exact figure of 1.26 million yuan, she couldn't stop the corners of her mouth from curling up. "Hubby, sign it." I flipped through all the documents and signed my name. When it was Xiao Yu's turn, she signed without a moment's hesitation. The scratching sound of the pen against the paper sounded exactly like a countdown to Judgment Day. The procedures were completed. Wang Lei informed us that the funds would be dispersed within 3 business days. As we walked out of the bank, Xiao Yu hugged my arm tightly. "Hubby, our good days are finally coming." "Yeah, they're coming." That night, Xiao Yu actually went into the kitchen and cooked 4 dishes and a soup. This was only the 3rd time since we got married. At the dinner table, she kept putting food in my bowl. "Once we get the dividends, let's swap the car for a BMW first. We'll buy that exact one you liked last time. Then, well, go on a trip to Europe. Haven't you always wanted to go to Switzerland?" I kept my head down, eating my rice, and just mumbled in agreement. After eating, she broke her usual habit and actually washed the dishes. Then she brushed her teeth, washed her face, and got into bed early. She even took the initiative to snuggle up, wanting to get intimate. I used the excuse of being tired to turn her down. Although she wasn't happy about it, she didn't say anything else. I knew her sudden gentleness and passion were all bought by that 1.26 million. The day the money hit the account, Chen had invited us to his company to sign the formal investment agreement. The company was located in the high-tech district, on the 12th floor of an office building. The decor was incredibly lavish, but there were barely any employees around. "Brother, welcome. This is our CFO, Boss Liu." This so-called Boss Liu was actually one of the extras we met at the CLB the other day. He pulled out a thick contract. I skimmed through the clauses. It looked a bit more professional than the previous one, but the core trap was still there. Once the investment funds were injected, unless the company went bankrupt and liquidated, there would be no way to withdraw the capital. "Boss Chen, this money is, after all, my wife and his entire life savings. See if you can add this clause. If the dividends don't reach the promised 50% within a year, my side has the right to demand a withdrawal of funds." Chen An's expression shifted slightly, but he quickly regained his smile. "Brother, you're worrying too much. The government project we're about to sign has a profit margin of over 400%. The dividends will definitely exceed your expectations." "That's right, hubby. Would Director Chen ever lie to us?" I looked over at Xiao Yu. She was looking at me with almost pleading eyes. In that moment, I suddenly felt sorry for her. She thought she had climbed up to a high branch, but in reality, she was taking it step by step into the abyss. I put pen to paper and signed the contract. Then, through the banking app, I transferred 1 million yuan to the designated account in the contract. When the successful transfer notification rang out, the smile on Chen An's face became much more genuine. In the car, Xiao Yu kept humming a tune. Suddenly, she said, "Just give the remaining 260,000 to my brother first. His girlfriend's family is rushing him." "Sure, but he has to write an IOU. Even blood brothers need to keep clear accounts." "Why do we need an IOU? He's my own flesh and blood." "Exactly because he's your brother, we have to do things by the book. Otherwise, it'd be hard to explain later." She pouted, but didn't argue anymore. I knew that in her mind, this money was already in her pocket anyway. I took all the newly gathered evidence to Liu: transfer records, investment contract, voice recordings. This chain of evidence was now absolutely complete. "We can officially file for divorce now." "Hold on. I don't just want a divorce. I want them completely ruined." "Then I suggest you initiate this. A criminal case with civil compensation." Chen used a fake project to defraud investments. He's suspected of contract fraud. The amount involved is in the millions, which is more than enough to file a case. Once the police get involved, Michelle become an accomplice to defrauding her own husband. I stared at that file folder, my fingertips trembling slightly. "All right, but wait until I finish one last thing." I took the initiative to invite Xiao Yu's entire family out for a meal. I chose a high-end seafood restaurant. They've already transferred the 260,000. I brought the IOU with me too. "Sign it." Xiao Bing took the pen, his eyes lighting up. But when he saw the IOU, he frowned. "Brother-in-law, You're really making me write an IOU? If Xiao Zhang tells you to write it, just write it. We're all family. It's not like he's gonna run away with your money. Xiao Bing reluctantly signed his name. Xiao Yu's mother was grinning from ear to ear. She kept putting food in my bowl. Xiao Zhang. I knew from the start you were a promising young man. Xiao Yu is so lucky to have married you. My gaze swept over Xiao Ju. She was looking down at her phone, her fingers tapping away rapidly. I didn't even need to guess to know she was sharing the good news with Chenin. At 2 a.m., I received the latest update from old Zhang. Chenin had just lost another 800,000 at a Macau casino. The loan sharks were already knocking on his door. He was desperate to cash out that 1 million yuan investment. At the same time, lawyer Zhou also reported progress. Su Yuan's family had officially sent a lawyer's letter to Chen An, demanding that within a week, he must return the total of 2.15 million yuan in embezzled funds. Otherwise, they would press criminal charges. The time had come. A week later, Xiao Yu's company held its 10th anniversary celebration. They booked the entire banquet hall of a 5-star hotel downtown. Xiao Yu had been excitedly preparing for it a whole week in advance. She even dragged me along to buy new shoes and jewelry. Tonight, all the top executives and important clients will be there. Director Chen said he's going to officially announce my promotion to deputy manager right at the banquet. The night of the banquet, Xiao Yu wore a silver backless gown. Her makeup was absolutely stunning. She had arms with me as we entered the hall. Chen An, as the creative director, went on stage to give a speech. He was dressed sharply in a suit and leather shoes, speaking with confidence and vigor, thanking the team, painting a picture of the future. Thunderous applause erupted from the audience. No one knew just how filthy the man beneath that facade really was. The speech concluded. Next, I'd like to invite Director Chen's special assistant, MS Xiao Yu, to the stage. Director Chen has prepared a special surprise for her. Xiao Yu covered her mouth in surprise and glanced at me. With my encouraging look, she gracefully walked up to the stage. Miss Xiao Yu hasn't been with the company for long, but her abilities are outstanding, and her contributions have been immense. With the approval of the company's management, she is promoted to deputy manager of the design department. Xiao Yu's eyes welled up with tears. Just as she was about to give her acceptance speech, the main doors of the banquet hall were suddenly pushed open. The entire hall instantly fell dead silent. Everyone's eyes darted toward the entrance. Who is Chen Un? Who is Chen Un? I am. How can I help you? You are suspected of embezzling company funds and contract fraud. Please come with us to the station for investigation. 2 police officers stepped forward, flanking Chen Un on both sides. Xiao Yu stood dumbstruck on the stage. The bouquet in her hands dropped to the floor with a thud. She stared in shock as Chen Un was handcuffed, and then looked over at me in disbelief. I slowly stood up, pulled a USB drive out of my pocket, and walked up to the stage. I went over to the control console and plugged the USB into the computer. On the big screen, photos of Chen Un and Xiao Yu at the resort villa, explicit and intimate videos, along with their flirty WeChat messages, were all broadcasted without any censorship. The entire hall absolutely exploded. Turn it off. Turn it off right now. That's not real. She screamed and lunged toward the control console, but was held back by the staff. The screen was now playing a voice message she had sent to Chenin. That idiot actually mortgaged the house. 7 million yuan is almost in our hands. Once the divorce is finalized, I'll lay my cards on the table with him. I turned off the video, looking down at the dumbfounded guests below. Allow me to introduce her. This Mez Xiao Yu here is my wife, and this director Chen is her lover. For the past 6 months, they've been spending my money on one hand, while plotting to leave me with nothing on the other. Her face turned deathly pale, her entire body trembling. Did you really think you climbed up to a high branch? Chenin embezzled 2.15 million yuan in company funds and owes 3 million yuan to a Macau casino. His father-in-law's family is suing him. Barring any surprises, when he's going to prison for 10 years. No. Impossible. You're talking nonsense. I pulled a stack of copied documents from my pocket, holding them up one by one. These are his bank statements. This is the casino IOU, and this is the court summons. Do I need to read them out loud for everyone to hear? Xiao Yu's legs gave out, and she collapsed onto the stage floor. Her elaborately styled hair was a mess, her makeup smudged with tears. Her silver gown was covered in dirt. She looked as pathetic as a stray dog. I didn't bother giving her another glance. Turned around, and walked off the stage, and headed straight out of the banquet hall. Behind me came the wailing of her parents, the curses of her younger brother, and the gossip and mockery of all the guests. The night breeze was bitingly cold. I took a deep breath and got into my car. My phone started buzzing crazily. Calls from Xiao Yu, calls from her parents, calls from her brother. I didn't answer a single one. A few minutes later, I received a WeChat message from Liu. The police have filed the case. Chen An has been officially detained on criminal charges. The divorce papers will be submitted to the court tomorrow morning. I replied, received. I started the car and drove deep into the night. In the rearview mirror, the hotel was still brightly lit. That farce was still unfolding. But as far as I was concerned, everything was already over. Early the next morning, as a person involved in the case, I was summoned to the police station to assist with the investigation. Officer Lai, who was in charge of the case, had a very sharp gaze. Mr. Zhang, the evidence you provided is crucial. Chenin has confessed to embezzling company funds, forging project contracts, and defrauding you of your 1 million yuan investment. Not only that, he also confessed that your wife, Xiao Yu, was fully aware of this fraud scheme and repeatedly urged him to speed up the process. She can even be considered one of the masterminds. She exploited my trust in her to plot and seize our family assets, and even put on a show in front of me, exaggerating how reliable that fake project was. I handed over the documents I had prepared to the police, including the chat history showing Xiao Yu urging Chen An to quickly finish scamming me, the dashcam footage proving she lied about working overtime when she was actually out on a date, along with the voice recording of her family extorting 260,000 yuan from me. Officer Li examined them carefully, his brows furrowed tightly. The nature of this case is very serious. It's not just an economic crime, but also involves marital assets. We will handle it strictly according to the law. Additionally, regarding your 1 million yuan, because it was transferred to a company account controlled by Chen and a portion of it was already transferred out to pay off debts, recovering it will take some time. You need to be mentally prepared for that. I understand. The money can be recovered slowly, but I demand that the law punish them severely. I had just arrived at my front door when I saw Xiao Yu's parents and brother blocking the way. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they looked extremely agitated. Zhang Hao, you heartless bastard. How could you do this to Xiao Yu? She's your wife, son-in-law. You, hurry up and tell the police that it was all just a misunderstanding. Tell them to let my sister go. We won't ask for that 260,000 back. Okay, I looked at them coldly. The only one who ruined her is herself. I still have the IOU for that 260,000. It's in black and white. You have to pay it back. As for Xiao Yu, she's suspected of conspiracy to commit fraud. She's currently in criminal detention. What awaits her is the judgment of the law. You're trying to drive our whole family to death, aren't you? Even a single day of marriage means a lifetime of devotion. How can you be so cruel? When she was lying in another man's arms, plotting to steal my house and my savings, did she ever show me an ounce of devotion? When you all ganged up together, trying to suck me dry to the last drop of blood, did you ever think this day would come? I pulled out my phone and hit play on the recording. From it came Xiao Yu's mother's voice from our last meal. Xiao Yu marrying you is truly a blessing, along with Xiao Bing's smug laughter when he got the money. The faces of all three instantly turned pale. I didn't bother paying them any more attention. I just opened the door, walked inside, and locked it behind me. From outside came the loud sounds of crying and banging on the door. It lasted for about 10 minutes before gradually fading away. Daliu handed me the divorce petition. The demands were written clearly and firmly. Because the female party cohabited with another person during the marriage and is involved in a criminal offense constituting a severe fault. Therefore, we request the court to grant a divorce. The female party shall leave with nothing. The female party must compensate the male party for emotional distress in the amount of 200,000. The female party and her family must repay the borrowed sum of 260,000 plus interest. The evidence is solid, the facts are clear. Plus, she's currently in custody. When the court issues the divorce decree for this case, there's over a 90% chance our demands will be approved. As for the 260,000 from her family, the proof is undeniable. If they don't pay, we can simultaneously file for court-ordered enforcement. Don't worry, they're already losing their minds over this. Xiao Yu might be facing prison time. Chenin can't even save his own skin. No one is going to give a damn about them. And the scene at the company's anniversary party was recorded on the phones of countless attendees. It quickly spread across local social media and friend circles. Beautiful assistant colludes with director to scam ex-husband. The topic, the most ruthless on-site revenge of the year, kept trending higher and higher. Although kind netizens blurred my face, Xiao Yu and Chen An's faces were crystal clear. Xiao Yu's old posts showing off their affection, her social media accounts, where she used to flaunt her luxurious lifestyle, were bombarded by netizens. Under her latest post showing off her anniversary gala dress, it was flooded with tens of thousands of sarcastic and condemning comments. Some even D075 grams up her old posts, where she hinted at marrying the wrong man, contrasting it with the actual luxurious life she was enjoying, further exposing her hypocritical true colors. Chen Anna's anime company also quickly issued a statement, announcing the termination of his employment contract, stating his personal actions had nothing to do with the company, and that they would fully cooperate with the police investigation. Suwan's family business also issued a high-profile statement, declaring they would pursue legal action against Chenin to the fullest extent. Through my lawyer's request, I was able to see Xiao Yu in custody. She was wearing a prison uniform, her face haggard, her eyes evasive. The radiant glow she once had was long gone. Zhang Hao, are you here to laugh at me? I came to tell you, the divorce papers have been filed with the court. You'll be leaving with absolutely nothing. Plus, you'll have to pay me for emotional distress. And that 260,000 your family borrowed must be paid back in full, with interest. Do you really have to be so heartless? I am already in this state. I might even go to prison. Going to prison is you reaping what you sowed. When you chose betrayal and deceit, you should have known this day might come. She suddenly became agitated, gripping the iron bars tightly. It was Chen An. He forced me to do it. He said if I didn't cooperate, he'd make it impossible for me to stay at the company. I am just a victim too. In your chat history, you called him darling, plotting with him on how to scam my money, fantasizing about running away together once he got divorced. I didn't see a single hint of you being forced back then. Wait, Zhang Hao, for the sake of our past love, can you please drop the lawsuit? I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. Once I get out, I promise I'll be a good wife to you. I am begging you. Tears streamed down her face, but in my eyes, these tears, compared to the fake pitiful act she used to put on to get what she wanted, were no different at all. There's been no love between us for a long time. You're on your own. The divorce case went to trial. Because Zhao Yu was in custody for her involvement in the criminal case, she attended the hearing via video. Her family sat in the gallery, looking grim and miserable. In court, my lawyer, Da Liu, clearly and logically presented all the evidence. Evidence of infidelity, evidence of fraud, and the conspiracy to hide assets. The defense from Xiao Yu's lawyer was incredibly weak. They could only repeatedly emphasize that the female party was young and naive, and was manipulated by others. The judge asked Xiao Yu directly if she agreed to the divorce. On the other end of the video call, she stayed silent for a long time. Finally, she choked out the word agree. After the closing arguments, the judge called a recess to deliberate. Half an hour later, the presiding judge announced the verdict. Upon review, the court finds that the defendant, Xiao Yu, during the existence of her marriage to the plaintiff, engaged in an illicit relationship with another person, and conspired with another to defraud the plaintiff of significant assets. These actions have caused severe damage to the marital relationship, violating the statutory duty of mutual fidelity between husband and wife. The defendant is at severe fault. First, the divorce between the plaintiff, Zhang Hao, and the defendant, Xiao Yu, is granted. Second, regarding the joint marital assets, excluding personal items belonging to the defendant, Xiao Yu, all remaining assets, including the real estate involved in this case, vehicles, and savings, are awarded to the plaintiff, Zhang Hao. Third, the defendant, Xiao Yu, within 30 days from the effective date of this judgment, must pay the plaintiff, Zhang Hao, 200,000 inches compensation for emotional distress. Fourth, the defendant, Xiao Yu, along with her family, within 30 days, must repay the borrowed sum of 260,000 to the plaintiff, Zhang Hao, along with the corresponding legal interest. The judge's gavel struck. On the video screen, Xiao Yu burst into loud sobs. Her mother in the gallery fainted. I calmly packed up my files and shook Dahlia's hand in thanks. Chen An's case involved corporate embezzlement, contract fraud, gambling, and several other charges. The trial was held publicly. Su Wan's family hired a top-tier legal team. The evidence presented was piled as high as a mountain. In the end, Chen An was convicted on multiple counts and sentenced to 12 years in prison, along with hefty fines and the confiscation of all his illegal earnings. Xiao Yu, as an accomplice, given her sincere confession and relatively minor involvement in the case, was sentenced to 3 years in prison with a 4-year suspended sentence, but at the same time, she was held liable for joint civil compensation in Chen An's fraud case. This meant that, even if she didn't have to go to prison immediately, she would be burdened with a massive debt and carry a criminal record for the rest of her life. I sold the house filled with those painful memories. In a quiet new apartment complex, I bought a small, older apartment, renovated it simply, making it bright and clean. Wang Lai helped me recover a portion of the money Chen An had hidden, about 400,000. Even though I lost more than half, I got full ownership of the house back, plus the 260,000 loan from Xiao Yu's family, which was gradually transferred to my account through court enforcement. My life finally had a solid foundation again. I brought my parents over to live with me for a while. My mom secretly wiped away her tears. My dad patted my shoulder and said, "Son, keep looking forward." I went to the supermarket to shop and happened to see Xiao Yu on a street corner. She was wearing a cheap puffer jacket. Her face looked ashen, handing out gym flyers to passersby. In the freezing wind, she kept stomping her feet and blowing on her hands. She saw me too, her body visibly stiffening for a second. She quickly lowered her head and turned to walk away. "Wait." I walked over. She didn't dare look me in the eye. "The money? I'll pay it back slowly. The court is already garnishing my wages. I am doing odd jobs to scrape it together. I am not here to collect a debt. I heard your mom is sick. My dad and Xiao Bing both abandoned her. The hospital bills are so expensive." I took 2,000 yuan in cash out of my wallet and handed it to her. "Take this for emergencies. From now on, we owe each other nothing. Don't contact me again, and never show up in front of me again." This wasn't pity. It was more like a final ritual of farewell. She didn't take the money. She just looked at me, tears streaming down her face. Finally, I saw genuine regret in her eyes, but it was all too late. I placed the money on the ledge of the newsstand next to us, turned around, and walked away. After walking quite a distance, I looked back. She was still standing there silently, just like a broken doll abandoned in the snow. I changed jobs to a larger company, with my solid technical background and a cool head. I quickly established myself in this new field. Occasionally, colleagues would get curious about my past. I would just give a faint smile and say, "It's all in the past. I got a cat." In my free time, I read, worked out, and learned how to cook. My life was as calm as still water, but it brought the steady feeling of a lucky survivor who had made it through a disaster. One day, I heard from an old friend. Xiao Yu's father had a stroke and was paralyzed on one side. Her younger brother, Xiao Bing, took out high-interest online loans and ran away. Xiao Yu had to work several jobs at once, shouldering a debt that seemed like it would never be paid off, along with taking care of her parents. Her days were incredibly miserable. As for Chen, and life in prison wasn't easy for him either. I heard that because he was so arrogant and offended so many people before. He was often given special treatment by his fellow inmates. I asked a G out for coffee, to thank them for helping me during my hardest times. When catching up on things lately, everyone has already let the past go. Ha! Thinking back on it, you were really ruthless back then, and incredibly calm too. It wasn't ruthlessness. I just finally understood a simple truth. Showing mercy to evil is being ruthless to the good. I was just taking back the life that belonged to me. Outside the window, the sun is shining brightly. The streets are bustling with people. Everyone is rushing forward on their own path in life. Some walk toward the light, some sink into the darkness. As for my story, it began with a betrayal and ended with a final judgment. But in the end, that judgment wasn't just for them. It was also for the old me, the one who blindly trusted others and was so weak and easily bullied. Now, the trial is over. The sentence has been served. I've finally walked out of the prison in my own heart and truly started a new life.